Okay, so what we have happening today, we're going to be making a piece out of recycled materials. You'll see I have some bubble wrap here. I have another little flimsy piece of cardboard. I've got paint and some Easter grass. I've got a couple little gems and buttons and a bottle cap. I also have this really fun, this is actually a produce bag. So I also have a toilet paper roll, and we're gonna do some fun, an ocean scene today, and we're gonna put some fish in it and some seaweed and whatnot. So you kind of need a few things for this, but I'm going to tell you along the way what you can use instead if you don't have all of these things. So for right now, we're going to start with our background. We're going to make an ocean scene. So of course, what we know about oceans is that they're brighter at the top than they are at the bottom. I'm going to shove this stuff out of the way a little further and push my piece up here so you can see it. So it's going to be dark down here and light up here, and I might throw some greens into it as well. So here's my plate. When you don't have something really to put it on, a kitchen plate works just fine. Now I'm using acrylic and a piece of cardboard. If you only have watercolor, then just use paper. That would be just fine. If you don't have paint at all and you're wondering how this can work for you, you can do markers. All you need to do is make a piece of paper or a cardboard. Wow, this thing is really stuck in here. Or a piece of cardboard blue. All right, so I'm going to start with my white. It's going to go at the top because we know that the sun is up there shining down. Now, I did not put anything under my paper, which I'm realizing now is probably not a good choice. But there we go. All fixed now. It's as simple as that. That way we're not painting on anybody's table. When we're doing art at home, it's super, super important that, that we clean up. Now, what I've just done here is I've started to mix a little blue in. I'm just gonna bring it up and see how I only go side to side. And that is because, getting daring here, needed a bigger piece. I'm going side to side because I want it to blend evenly in a downward fashion. Now, let's mix in some green with some blue. Now what you can do, if that's getting a little dark, you can remember to bring in some of that white. If you had some lighter blue too, you could even, like I've got a little bit of light blue here that I could be mixing in, which would be just fine. Or remember, we can get some green on here and put blue on the other side, and then maybe white. That way we've got our whole brush is just a whole mess of paint. Let's see what happens. Ooh, that looks fun, right? I'm not gonna worry too much about it. There's been too much time on it. Anyway, when we're doing art at home, it's super important to clean up after yourself. Because if you leave this for your parents to clean up, that is just not fair. They didn't get to do this, or maybe they did. they could definitely come do this with you, and that would be super fun. So let's just blend this down. Sometimes we can put a little movement in here too. Like maybe you want to do waves in the background, make it look a little more fun. I am certainly running out of blue already. Hopefully this will be enough to get me to the bottom. So hopefully you have some happier colors. This looks pretty cool. It's not as happy as I would like it to be, which is fine. Sometimes our art turns out exactly the way we thought up, and other times it doesn't. And that is okay. I'm just going to get into the corners here. And I ran out of blue, so it is not going dark to light. Maybe I can get a little bit more blue, because it'd be a shame if our ocean was more white than blue. We'll just take off the cap and try again. There we go. Look at all that blue. I think I just have some old paint. It's a little globby. Could have used mixing first. There we go. That'll work. Look at that. So blue. Running out of places to hold on to it. Woohoo! So this can be something you do with your brother and sister. You can do this with your mom and dad. The more the merrier. And you really can just raid your recycling bin and come up with all different materials to use. You don't have to find exactly what I found, because I don't think maybe that we have bought the same stuff at our house. For this, I grabbed a piece of cardboard off the back of a paper, what's it called? A paper pad. What you could do if you don't have that, you could grab a cereal box and use a cereal box instead. Let's add a little bit more interest up here. See how my dry brush makes choppier lines? Oh, and you could be using water here too to make your paint go a little further, but sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Because a lot of times tempera doesn't need the extra liquid because it's already liquid. Okay, here we go. Now I've got my wonderful little ocean scene. So I'm turning that upside down because I think you might be upside down to me. So let's build off this, shall we? I'm gonna make some bubbles. You know, I'm gonna make some bubbles. I'm gonna use my toilet paper roll. So I'm just gonna dip my paintbrush in my white paint and get all around the sides here. All around the sides. And I'm gonna use this as a print. It's kind of like a stamp. So watch. Whoa. Maybe I'll overlap them, see what that looks like. Fun, huh? Some big bubbles, and now let's get some small bubbles. I had a pair of scissors somewhere. You see it? I don't see it. Luckily I had some behind me. So here we go. I'm just gonna make my, if my scissors would cut, there we go. I'm gonna make my bubble wrap a little smaller. That way I can use the rest That's its own little activity in itself. That one won't pop. Anyway, here we go. Here's some wonderful bubble wrap. And we're just gonna paint your bubble wrap. Now, try not to paint yourself, but if you do, you might want to have a paper towel around ready to just, you know, clean up yourself. Look at the fun print that makes. I love using bubble wrap to make bubbles. So, the fun thing about this, you don't have to wash this off. You can just go pop that in the trash when you're done. Okay, I'm actually gonna wipe my thumb on here. So, here's our background. Doesn't it look lovely? Oops, I done stuck my thumb in some paint again. I painted myself. Okay. So let's set this aside, and we'll focus on the fish now. Take that with me. Okay. Now we're setting up the fish. Feel free to paint your own paper. But if you don't want to paint your own paper, and maybe you have some fun scrapbook papers around, or even magazine clippings, or a mixture of magazine and plain paper, you can use just any colored paper for this you want. You can also do things like, you can also do you can just take a piece of white paper and color it with markers, crayons, or whatever. Just the point is to make some texture. Sorry about that. I wanted some better scissors. So let's choose a drawing utensil. Here is my pencil. And I'm going to use, no, I want this one because this one's super pretty. Now, your fish can be very cartoony. So I'm going to draw the body first. Maybe make that a little bit more like a football-shaped fish. Okay, and maybe his fin comes out like this, up, down. Woohoo! There's a nice fish, and fin here, and a fin here. How wonderful. Now, I'm going to cut that out. We can use that as an eyeball. And maybe put a fun little gem in there. So shiny. Okay, let's cut him out, shall we? Now, if you're a little younger, you're going to remember that when you have your scissors in your hand, you're only cutting your paper. And you're going to try to cut along your lines really, really well. And did you notice how I didn't put my fishy in the middle of my paper and then cut into it? I put it next to the side. I did. Now, if you're thinking, I don't have paint, I don't have paper, but I could draw a fish. You draw your fish. We have different supplies at home, you and me. But I do want you to think about how you could make what we're making. My scissors are not, they're like sticky. Those sticky scissors. It's like the scissors at school. I have silly scissors at home. Okay. Once we get this cut out, maybe we'll find some glue and we'll glue them onto our paper when he's dry, but I will show you at the end how we're going to do all that. One last cut. Here's our fish. How cute is he? Oops, let's flip him over. Ooh. Here he is. So, get my piece out here and show you that I will just pop him right here, I think, when my paper is all dry. And of course, he'll have an eyeball. Now, different things we can use for seaweed. Of course, we can just use some of this. Maybe it's floating. Have you ever been to the ocean and seen how sometimes there is just weeds floating at the top? I think maybe way down deep, they're sticking up straight out of the ocean floor, like maybe this. But sometimes they come to the top and you run over them. I have run over a few of them in a boat before, and boy, that was fun. Now, these are just party streamers. Great paper. I can cut it into little pieces, and look how much that looks like seaweed down there. That is super fun. If you don't have these at home, that's okay. What can you use instead? I want you to think about what you can use to build some fun seaweed at the bottom. Could you paint some paper and make some seaweed? Yes. Ooh, how interesting will it be to overlap? That means put something on top. What if our fish is actually hiding in our paper and our streamers? How interesting would that be? Or maybe he's sitting on top of it. Or maybe this needs to be a little bit skinnier. Oof. Right? How cute is he? Okay, this is like a hiding fish. He's hiding too well, I think. There's something about that just bothering me. So, how fun is he? Maybe he needs a different color fin. So, I'm just going to try my best to just cut out a fin. Oof. It is hard to cut this crepe paper with these dull little scissors. There we go. So maybe he has a pink fin. That's kind of fun. Okay, now, what else can I do? Ooh, I need to use this somewhere. Did you know that people just leave their trash on the beach? Did you know that? And sometimes that the nets fall off fishing boats and just get stuck in the bottom. And sometimes people don't. The wildlife at the bottom of the sea gets stuck in it. So this is more of a piece that says, make sure to pick up your trash. Look how fun this looks though at the bottom. Now, something else I could do with this, and let me see if I can get a piece of paper to show you. Because it would be a really fun way to do your fish drawing if you grabbed yourself a piece of paper and put it on top of something that's textured. And say we got a pastel or a crayon. Can you see me? I don't know if you can see me very well. Let's move this stuff back. We'll move this little fishy out of the way for a minute. All right, so again, we have this fun little net stuff underneath. I'm putting my paper on top, and then I'm taking this and I'm going over it. interesting is that? So what if we made a fish from here? Let's try it. Let's try this shape too. Because maybe there could be some diamond-shaped fish in our world, don't you think? Now, you don't have to have a pastel for that. You could just use a crayon. Don't those look like gills? Or not gills, scales. That's what I meant. So, he needs an eye. Let's give him an eye. Let's give him a button for an eye. Woohoo! Now, what else does he need? A tail. You're right. He needs a tail. I wonder if I took this paper and cut it just like this, would it look like a tail? Let's see. What if I put it under? Does that look much like a tail? Maybe. Now, what else? He might need his own little fin. This is a scrap I cut off of that other piece of paper. That's kind of a sad looking one though, isn't it? Let's give him a stronger looking fin. He needs a strong fin, I think. Let's just do a triangle. Here's a triangle there. Let's do a triangle on top and a triangle on the bottom. Whoops. Now, of course, I would come back with my glue stick or my liquid glue. Remember, just a dot, not a lot. I would come back and glue him together. Doesn't he look like a fun little fish? It's very geometric. Geometric shaped fish. Now, I think he needs something on his mouth. Let's pick a different color pastel. Maybe he's a parrotfish. You ever seen a parrotfish? You should go look at a parrotfish after this. They have the craziest parrot mouths for a fish. And that's all. Just a little circle shape with a line. And there's my cute little fishy. He's probably upside down to you. Okay, I'll try. Whoop, whoop. Alrighty, there he is. So, after I glued him together, I might put him on my background for my fishy. Let's put him back together here. There might not be enough room for him, huh? My fish are kind of big. Move him over here. Now, once I'm happy with this, I'll glue everything down where I wanted it. Or maybe I just play with the pieces until bedtime. Here it is. There's your fun little recycled fish project. I hope this is super fun for you. See you next time.